Hello, RFM.
Hello, Mr. Real. How are you?
I'm great. It's a great Friday night. I'm excited to be here and excited to have you here as well, my friend.
Well, thank you very much. And I would like to wish you formally a happy new year.
Happy New Year to you. Yeah, I miss the old days where Dick Clark would help me ring it in and be there to have lots of conversation before the ball dropped.
Oh, yeah. Dick Clark's
It's
rockin' New Year. By the
I'm
way, I've got my tie on. You may remember I was going to wear a new tie that I'd gotten for Christmas
Mhm.
for the show. It's a bow tie. I was
Yeah.
going to wear this last week, but I couldn't find the batteries.
Mm.
So I put this on, I strapped it on, and ready for here we go. Let's try this. Okay, hang on a second here. Oh, good, good. No pressure. Okay, I'm gonna have to. There we go. There we go.
The light up top.
What do you think?
It's a sharp color and it goes well with the lights you've got in the background because it's all sort of this neon lights and I like it a lot. It certainly makes the bow tie stand out. So I like it.
I know, isn't it weird? Because it almost seems like it's not part of this world. It's just,
Yeah, it's otherworldly.
and then when you do that,
Yeah, now I just had an epileptic seizure.
yes, be careful.
Yeah.
Epileptic warning, warning. Hope that wasn't too late. And then if you would like a slower case of epilepsy, then we'll do that.
Yeah, there's that one. But
That's like vacancy.
my favorite my favorite is the solid neon.
Is it really? Okay, so I can take it off. I'm gonna try that a little bit.
Yeah, I love it.
And if anybody doesn't like that, well, okay, you can say you don't like it. Hopefully, you'll like it, and hopefully it won't be too distracting.
Yeah. Well, folks, it is Friday night, January 3rd, 2025. It is the new year. RFM, you mentioned on Mormonism Live that you had a certain idea that we wanted to try to carry out tonight. And I'm wondering if you want to explain that to the audience. And in the meantime, I'll put the banner up. Um, and I'll share the link to come into the studio in the comments. But RFM, take it away.
Great, thank you. Now, I've got a little bit of a story to tell here, but ultimately, what this has to do is this question: were you ever, when you were a faithful, righteous Latter-day Saint, were you ever so righteous that you would be offended during some kind of movie or stage production, that you would be so offended that you would actually have to get up and leave in the middle of the performance? Just walk right out of the building. That's the question, because I was. But before we get to that, actually, it's easy to do it. There was 2 times when I did it, and once was, believe it or not, it was a PG-13 movie. It was December 25th. It was 1981. It was Chevy Chase. It was a Chevy Chase movie. I plead in my defense that I was a recently returned missionary of only about just a little over a month. And it was Christmas Day. Some friends who were Mormon wanted to go see a movie. I said, okay, let's go see a movie in the afternoon. And we did. And not only did I think it was not funny, there was some scene in the middle, and I can't remember what it was, but I think it probably had to do with sex. And it was just getting, Holy Ghost has left the building and I'm following. So I got up and I left. I was the only one. The other 3 people, the Mormons that I went with, they stayed. But so I roamed the lobby for an hour. It was a very long hour, but at least I was warmed by the thought of my own righteousness. So that was one time. The second time was a stage production. It was actually Pippin. It was in college. And things got, it was the middle, and I got up with my date, left the building. And so I'm wondering if you were ever that righteous as a Mormon.
Well,
Now, on the
before,
other hand, I want to tell you this, because I wasn't actually raised to be this self-righteous. This came with the Mormonism. This was more nurture than nature. So separate and distinct from this, I joined the church when I'm 18 years old. But when I'm 15, 14 years old or so, my dad worked for Boeing, and Boeing had this deal where they would give, employees could have tickets to certain theater events. And there was a theater in Seattle called the Cirque Theater. I think it was CIRQ, maybe UE, Cirque Theater. And they would put on little plays, right? Comedies generally. And there would be sort of a circuit of perhaps formerly more famous kind of TV stars who would star in these traveling plays. So one of them I remember was Bob Cummings. If you know who he is, you know who he is. And Hans Conried was in another, believe it or not. So this is in the mid 70s. And I remember that in the one with Bob Cummings, that there were certain things going on stage, which certainly were not explicit, but which were getting very suggestive to the point that I was blushing. And what made it so bad is that my dad is right there. This was a dinner theater, by the way, dinner first, then the theater. We're in close proximity. And I'm in a double bind because I can't laugh at it, even though I think it's funny, because if I laugh at it, then my dad will know that I get it, which means I got that.
Mm.
And we don't have that kind of a relationship, talking and communicating about things like this, right? So I remember just being very, very embarrassed by the entire ordeal. And at some point, whether it was later that night or sometime shortly thereafter, I remember gathering my courage to ask my dad this question about whether it's okay and when is it okay to laugh at a joke that maybe is kind of dirty. And my dad, bless his heart, looked at me and he said, RFM, if you're old enough to get it, you're old enough to laugh.
Mm. That's pretty wise, right? Like if it's
Yeah.
funny, it's funny. And we shame children for laughing at the thing they figured out, which is the same thing we laugh at because we figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I just really love that because I
Mm.
remember that memory. It sings in my heart, and I just gave him so many cool dad points that day.
Yeah, that is awesome. When you walked out of uh the performance, did you announce yourself? Did you say I'm going to leave, this thing is crosses a line, you know?
Well, no, I figured that my leaving would make that point for me. I wasn't there to try and disrupt anybody else's viewing of it or the show.
Yeah.
And
That's
by the way, the thing that's so weird about it, first off, let's underscore this, okay? I told the story about my dad. The reason it came to my memory is that I wasn't raised this way. Something changed me, and that something was Mormonism.
mm,
And it doesn't affect all Mormons aren't that sanctimonious, only the especially righteous ones who are on the track to getting their second anointing, perhaps. But no, I did that. But the weird thing is, as I'm doing it, I'm not feeling self-righteous. I'm not feeling like, wow, I'm better than everybody else. What I'm feeling is embarrassed as hell that I have to do this. And you say, well, you didn't have to do it. And I say, I know, but I felt like I needed to. But how strange. And I can't make sense of it.
mm.
I'm just telling you how it felt to be inside of me, feeling compelled to make kind of a spectacle of myself and being totally embarrassed in the process, but feeling that that's what I needed to do in order to do the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and this thing, it does tell you that you gotta stand up for the gospel of Jesus Christ. So you do have to have sort of whatever, there's a line, and if it gets crossed, then it's my job, and either I feel the shame of not standing up or I feel the shame of standing up, but I'm probably gonna feel shame either way.
I would either way. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, the closest I ever came to that, never walked out of a movie. I've walked out of bad movies just because they were bad, but not because of bad stuff going on in them. But, Breaking Bad, I think it came out, I don't know, what did we say, 2007?
I
Something
think
like
you
that.
had to calculate it because I've never seen any of it, though I've heard of it because it's so
Yeah.
famous.
So I think I looked it up, it was 2007, but I watched it after that because I was watching it streaming once it was outside of having actually went, live episode by episode week after week. And, I watched the first one, and it was it was good, but it was just too dark, too crossing the line for someone trying to be a good Mormon. And so I didn't watch it. I turned it off, whatever it was, after the first episode. I didn't watch part 2. And I don't know, 6 months went by, 8 months went by, and I had shifted. I didn't have that same line. I kind of saw the line as sort of ridiculous why we are to watch or not watch a certain thing. And so I ended up going back and watching all of Breaking Bad. And it was a phenomenal show. I think I lost interest towards the end. I won't say anything here, but lost interest towards the end. It just went a little different than I expected, but really enjoyed it. So yeah.
What happened at the end? He broke good?
No, it all fell apart, but I just expected a little more success somewhere along the way before it did, and it fell apart too soon. It was like, the characters are starting to head towards the final demise, and you can kind of see it coming. So,
okay.
Anyway,
Don't even get me started on the last season of Game of Thrones, okay?
Yeah, I watched about 3 or 4 seasons. You've seen Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Like it?
With that aforementioned exception, yes.
Yeah, okay. It is really good. I haven't finished it, but it is really good. Just to go off the beaten track for 2 seconds, a TV show I highly recommend, Succession. I don't know if it's on Hulu, Paramount, whatever, but Succession, if you can find it. It is a corporate family that is greedy and unhealthy. They are the unhealthiest of human beings, trying to jump over each other's backs to get to some success in the company. And they are, oh my goodness, it is. Yeah. I mean, folks, Succession is brilliant. Succession. So anyway, all right, enough of that. RFM, folks who have left things because it wasn't up to the standard that they've been called to hold. Folks, the phone line is open. Call with your story, 662-667-6667. So anything else from you before we go down?
No. I was wondering, are we going to go is there a phone call, or is there Mr. McSipelix down below?
Yeah, there's Mr. McSipelix. Hello, MX.
Hey, gents, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good day.
Fabulous for a Saturday morning.
Yes, it is a beautiful morning.
For you, what is it?
What was that?
Said for you, what is it? What time zone are you in?
It's 11 a.m.
Perth Skylab 1979.
That's the one, RFM. We're besties now.
So what's going on?
All right. So being the Christmas season recently, a few years ago, I remember sitting down with my true-believing Mormon mother and spending Christmas morning at her place. And I went, let's put on my favorite Christmas movie, which was Love Actually. And I hadn't seen it in a few years, and I completely forgot the storyline of the couple that meet each other while doing the blocking for a porn video shoot. So
I guess I forgot that part.
Yeah, and then they're buck naked, just, they're not doing it, but, and I'm just like, oh my God, like the embarrassment.
How did I forget that part? That sounds like that would have been the best part of the movie.
Actually, it isn't, but yeah.
I think I'm thinking of a different one. I'm thinking of one with Jude Law in it.
Yeah, no, he's not in this one. No. Have you seen Love Actually?
Actually, I think I have, but maybe I've got it wrong. Is it like four different stories? That sort of like stories. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, great movie. Completely freaking forgot that was in it.
It looks like Mr. Reader from Heretic is in it as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. Yeah, watching the Prime Minister go, he likes to kidnap Mormons.
Yes, he does, Mr. Reed.
Also, the sheriff from The Walking Dead.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah, so. Yeah. So anyway, so that was like 6 years ago, and never forgot that moment. Decided this year Mum was over for Christmas again, and I went, let's put this on again, because I'd gotten over my embarrassment. But my younger brother was there also, and he's like, oh yeah, I'll sit and watch this. And then that scene came on, and it was so fun watching him get embarrassed doing what I did 6 years
did
ago.
he get up and leave? Did he avert his gaze?
The gaze was averted. He didn't leave. He's not a
Okay, 'cause
TBM.
if he does this, you can always do that kind of and peek through.
No, he was just kind of like, oh, I forgot this was in it, and just kind of like tried to talk about the weather. It was hilarious.
Well, if you look once, you're a man. If you look twice, you're not a missionary.
Well, he never was a missionary, so
then the missionaries would append to that rule. So what that means is you make sure that your first look is a good long one.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, what am I looking at? Let me just stare at this for a while to figure out what's going on here. Yep, no. Okay, I can look away now. Is that how it goes?
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly how it goes. By the way, have I explained why it is that when I see MX, I think of this? I think I have. Anyway, he's a little imp in Superman, and he shows up from time to time, and he has this unpronounceable name. And in order to get rid of him, because he makes life just terrible for Superman, to get rid of him, you have to trick him into saying his name backward, I think is how it goes, to get him to go back into his dimension.
So like a twist on Rumpelstiltskin?
I think so, yes. But the first two letters are MX, and it goes on with maybe a Y or something, but it's like you couldn't pronounce it frontwards, or at least I couldn't. You just have to approximate it somehow. And then the idea is you got to make him say his own name backward.
Right.
You think he wouldn't be falling for that anymore, but he still does. Mr. MXYZPTLK.
Oh, it sounds like one of Elon Musk's children's names.
Really? Well, there does seem to be a resemblance. There he is. And so I and a million other kids try and approximate his name in order to be able to pronounce something that's written so it really can't be pronounced.
So you got to. Have you been practicing saying that name backwards so that you can be prepped for when you run into it?
I can't even say it frontwards, but I'd have to trick you into saying it backward in order to get rid of you. Either that, or Bill could accidentally drop you.
Hey, question, MX. Have you ever been thrown out of something? No, that's not it. Have you ever walked
I like
away?
your question better.
Hey, have you ever been thrown out? No. Have you ever walked out of something because it was below your standard, morality-wise, ethics-wise?
Okay. I have been thrown out of a work Christmas party because my nose was sunburnt and I twisted my ankle. So the bouncer thought that I was really, really drunk and I wasn't on the premises.
That's a very likely story, I've got to tell you.
Look.
I'm believing this. I think everybody out there is believing this story.
It's a true story. I literally was sober as, but anyway. When I was.
You mean your nose was red and you stumbled a lot? That's what you're trying to convey.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you feel warm inside?
No, I was really pissed off because it was a work Christmas party and I was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I'm going to lose my job for getting kicked out of this bar when I'm sober. But anyway.
And she smelled like a still.
Like a winery.
What's that?
I smelled like a winery, apparently.
Winery, yes. It's much nicer.
Have I left anything because it wasn't to my standard? Oh, I did a long time ago when I was 16 in a TBM.
Yes.
I can't remember what movie it was, but it was a horror movie with sex scenes in it, and I was just like mortified.
Yes.
So I got out and demanded a refund.
Whoa, you demanded a refund too?
Yeah, I was like, guys, this is just really not appropriate.
Yes, what happened?
So cringe. I almost walked. Wasn't a TBM, but I almost walked out of Tropic Thunder because I thought it was absolutely terrible and just wrong on so many levels, but now I kind of get the nuance of it, and I see the humor, but at the time I was just offended.
I've never
But,
even seen it, but I sort of have a vague idea about what it involves.
It's
oh,
funny.
it's just so wrong. It's so wrong, and I think that's the
That's
point
why-
that they're to
yeah,
make. I
Mhm.
kind of missed that at the time, but now I'm like, oh no, I get it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, now Team America I've seen a couple times, and I think that's wrong on so many levels too. In fact,
Oh, well,
all I
that's
have
coming
for Team America, all I can say about it is 3 words: Durka, Durka, Durka.
Well, that's the same word 3 times though.
I know, that's why it's funny. See, it's only funny on this hemisphere, I think. That's the problem.
Oh, I enjoyed the movie. America, fuck yeah.
Team
Oh,
America.
Bill, wait a second. I think you
Team-
just lost our, I don't know, our YouTube gold star rating.
No, we're doing great.
Are you doing
guys.
okay?
Yeah.
You can't see on your show anymore. I'm gonna get you striped.
What?
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry.
What are you-
In English, please.
So I'm gonna earn you guys another strike for having me on your show because I'm just
Strike. A
You're
strike.
worth a second copyright strike.
Do they play baseball down there?
that's the
Or is it just-
sweetest thing anyone's ever said to me, Bill.
Oh my
Well-
gosh, that's sweet.
Go figure.
I was thinking they only play cricket down there.
Cricket's boring though. Why stand in the heat in long sleeves and long pants for hours?
I have no idea.
What's your vote
Yeah.
for?
So
What's your vote for? What's the appropriate sport to play? What's the one that's worth the time and energy?
I enjoy watching volleyball.
What ball?
Volleyball.
Volleyball. Yeah.
Hmm.
Volleyball.
There you're not standing in the sun. You're jumping around in it.
Well, it depends if you play indoor or outdoor.
Yeah. Big
That's
indoor
true.
game.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Well, thank you, MX. Thank you for coming into the studio.
No worries. I'll see you again another time, guys. Have a good new year.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Same to you. You know, we're quite international by this point, Mr. Real.
We have Nevermos and over the great seas watching the show. So there's a lot of different segments of people that you wouldn't sort of expect to be part of this, but they join nonetheless.
Yes, especially from penal colonies.
Oh, goodness. Well, Tyson
Botany
is here with us.
Bay. Botany Bay. Oh, hello, Tyson.
how are you?
Hey.
Wait a second. I'm going to give you your background music, okay? Dun, 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 dun,
Got the whip right here.
dun, 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 dun. This is fantastic. Are you at a local restaurant?
No, this is my wall. I think I'm on it a good night because I'm a movie nerd, so we're talking
Well,
movies and
Is that Jeff Goldblum? Right,
Yeah.
bottom left.
from. So most of these are from Fan X in Salt Lake City. It's the nerd convention here. It's like San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got Goldblum and a bunch of other Marvel people and Indiana Jones people. And yeah.
Fantastic. Now, are you? You're not Trevor Larson.
I'm not. I'm Tyson.
Oh, you're Tyson. Are you Tyson Larson?
I am Tyson Hadfield.
Okay, Tyson.
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
Watch
welcome
out
to
for
our
those
show. By the
McCoys.
way, is that Narsil on your wall?
that is. No, Anduril. So the reforged
Ah,
version
yes.
Did you say you're a Hatfield?
with a D, Hadfield. So no
Yeah, just
McCoys. Yeah.
let's say
That was a
watch
trick
out for those
question, by the
McCoys.
way.
Yeah.
The first time I've ever heard that, Bill. You're the
Oh my
first
God,
person.
that's so cool.
Very first guy to
Very
do that to
first.
you.
We got it live.
I caught you off guard there.
Never heard
Boy,
it.
oh boy.
Are you ready for my movie? I didn't walk out. I censored it for my other high school friends. A friend of mine, he had a projector outside, had a bunch of friends over, bunch of Peter Priesthoods and Molly Mormons. And it was, I think it was Italian Job with Mark Wahlberg and Charlize Theron. And there's a part where I think Charlize Theron takes her top off and she's in a bra. And so I put my hand in front of the projector to censor it for everyone. And they all joked. They said like, "Oh, he's just watching it on his hand." But
Were you?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Really? You did that? Because you
Yeah.
were so righteous and you didn't want them to be stained?
Prevented us all from sinning. I sacrificed their.
And you only had the best of motives, didn't you?
No, I think it was that whole serotonin, dopamine, whatever, like holier than thou, spirituality, make myself appear better than I was kind of thing. If I'm being honest, I think that's what was going on.
Yeah, I think maybe. What I'm wondering is how you knew that scene was coming up.
Oh, I enjoyed it numerous times before I watched
yeah.
it, my friends.
I can tell that one.
I did the timestamp, like here it comes.
Ooh, that
here's a funny
sweet taste of hypocrisy.
That's right. Here's a funny one. I just remembered. I was watching The Mask of Zorro with my cousins. I love that movie, Antonio Banderas and everything. And my cousin, who's, I don't know, he's young. We'll say he's like 9 or 10. It's getting to the part where Zorro's cutting off Catherine Zeta-Jones's clothes and dress and everything. And my cousin goes, "This is my favorite part." Mine too, buddy. Mine too.
When I was 17, 16, 15, somewhere in there, I saw Porky's for the first time. And the opening shower scene. It's the first time I'm like, I didn't even know movies could go that far.
Is that PG too? Because PG movies back in the day had all sorts of nudity.
This was, naked girls in the shower for 5 minutes. And
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
I think it was R. Come on, Porky's was R.
Was that one? Oh. I just know, like, we watched Airplane. We got it on DVD for the first time, and we grew up watching the VHS recorded from TV version. I'm watching it with my brother for the first time, the DVD, and here comes boobies right in front of the screen, and then walked off, and my brother and I looked at each other like, I don't remember that part. And that's a PG movie. That was before PG-13 was created.
Yeah, PG-13. Correct me if I'm wrong. 1984 Gremlins.
Gremlins and Temple of Doom, both Steven Spielberg's input, he said.
Yeah.
Shouldn't there be something in between?
We all know he directed Gremlins for Toby. Toby was off the wagon or something. Toby Hooper, I mean. And by the way, I'm just kidding and just making a joke there, Toby. Not serious.
Tyson, because you're a movie aficionado.
I try.
Gremlins, Critters, or Tremors?
As far as my favorite?
Yeah.
I've never seen Critters. The VHS in the store that scared me. I think Gremlins. Grown up rewatching that all the time.
Yeah.
Tremors is fun too, though. Grew up watching that.
That's because it has Kevin Bacon jumping from rock to rock.
Have you heard?
Yeah, that doesn't grow old.
The Jim Gaffigan joke about bacon in general. He talks about bacon forever, but then he's like, I even like the name. The name Bacon. You can't tell me that Kevin Bacon's success can't be in part because of his name. Kevin Bacon's in it. Sounds good.
That's totally it. By the way, I think that what I was saying was actually directed mostly toward Poltergeist, but only secondarily toward Gremlins.
Joe Dante? No, who? Someone else directed Gremlins.
Was it Joe Dante?
I think so. I think that's the name.
It wasn't Toby Hooper?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Spielberg was a producer. Yeah, so I was thrown. I was like, I don't catch that reference. Now I got you.
Yes.
The Poltergeist thing. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Tyson. Thank you for sharing the story. Have a great day.
Good night.
Good night. Wow, isn't that cool?
Yeah. Yep. And we've got the phone lines full, and I see Paul down there. So Paul, I'll get to you in just a moment. I want to take a couple of these phone calls. They've been waiting for a minute. So
I'm glad I finally remembered I was talking about Poltergeist.
Caller, what's the name?
Jay, I think.
Jay, I think.
Hello.
Yep. Go ahead, my friend.
Hello, Jay.
Well,
hello.
I might be out of my league in trying to answer your question. Oh, before I do, you guys were talking about words backwards. I gotta tell you about. There's a short Larry the Cable Guy where he's talking about Tulsa backwards.
Yeah, what is that?
Tulsa spelled backwards
Yeah, what is that?
is a slut. Is a slut. And then what's a slut backwards? $100. Anyway, that was Larry the Cable Guy. He tells it funnier than I do. Anyway,
Hard to imagine.
but
Jay, thanks a lot. You just lost our entire audience from Tulsa. They've tuned out now.
Oh, no.
They're protesting in the streets.
Oh, actually, anyway, so we'll have to apologize for all the Tulsa people that, anyway, but as far as, I guess I'm hearing the word self-righteous.
Yeah. What did you leave? What did you walk away from?
Well, I wouldn't say there was anything I've ever walked away from other than I felt like my whole life, even as from a teenager on, both of you guys were not raised Mormons, but I got messed up as a 14-year-old when my bishop started interrogating me on masturbation, and from then on, all I'd say, I just remember going for 8 months without it and wanting to commit suicide. And geez, that was terrible. And I don't know, that's probably not on the subject. And you guys aren't supposed to be my therapist, are you?
Well, I'm glad we were a great place for you to get that off your chest.
Yeah, and you'll be getting my bill in the mail. No, I'm sorry that screwed you up. Why was it that it screwed you up so much? Because you're saying when I was 14.
There's no time you want to touch yourself more than when you're 14 years old.
My whole all through from 14 on through my mission, I couldn't masturbate, and it was terrible. And I didn't even understand all this stuff. I was too naive, and I didn't even understand. All I know is that I didn't even allow myself to get married. Because I thought I had to repent of the stuff first. And anyway,
yeah.
And anyway,
no, I get it. I get it.
Now, this is another manifestation of something that I felt that I had to a certain degree as well, which is really taking the church seriously and taking the doctrine seriously and taking the commandments seriously and really, really trying to be righteous.
Oh yeah. And I guess what I'm saying is I felt like the water, my head was just barely above water, and I was just treading water all the time and trying hard not to drown, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Let me use that metaphor. And it was just killing me.
Yeah.
It destroyed me, really.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, thank you, Jay. I appreciate the story, and I think other people will get benefit from that, because I think a lot of us felt a lot of things about what it determined were right or wrong to do, and what was just a normal growing up experience is made to
I
be
didn't
something
realize
bad.
it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it then.
Yeah. Jay, hang on a second.
Okay.
Before you go,
Okay.
hang on. I want to tell you this, okay? I think that into every life of sufficient length and experience, if a person is trying by their own sheer willpower to be a good person, always to keep the commandments, always to be like Jesus, always, you're going to fail, and you're going to fail, and you're going to fail. And the first time you fail, you're going to say, I just need to try harder next time. And the second time you fail, you're going to say, I just need to try harder next time. And the millionth time you fail, you're going to just say, I need to try harder next time. But at some point in the life of a person like that, because I was one, okay, there comes a point at which you realize the reason that I can't be perfect in spite of the fact I'm trying so hard is because I'm a human being. And I am, by definition, imperfect, at least according to the standard that has been set for myself and which I've adopted. I'm an imperfect human being. And once I accepted the fact that I was imperfect, and once I accepted the fact that no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't be perfect, so I could give myself a freaking break, all of a sudden I felt a huge weight roll off my shoulders. So I'm just sharing with you my experience, because I don't think I'm the only one who's had it.
I guess I didn't have enough. I wasn't smart enough to give myself a break until, I don't know, years later, after I read the critique about the movie Straight Outta Compton, where he said, if you treat somebody a certain way long enough, eventually they're going to start being that way. And I says, that's me. I've been treated unworthy my whole life. Why, damn, I'm going to be fucking, oh, there I messed up here again. Oh, shoot. Ruined your gold star again. Unworthy. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, that's the main thing. I'm just going to tell you, from my point of view, you're not unworthy, because there's no such thing as worthiness in the first place.
Yeah, it's a made up.
Well, I know that now.
I know.
Yeah,
that's all we can
that.
do. I wish I could go back in time too and change things.
I had to get out of Mormonism to realize it, though.
Yes, Mormonism doesn't want you to realize this, for obvious reasons, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, have a great
Jay,
night.
thanks. I'll talk to you later, okay?
I felt the same way last Tuesday, RFM. I wasn't in a place where I could, touch myself, and I was frustrated.
I'm sorry. Are we still talking about masturbation?
I just thought I'd throw one more out. All right, let's go to the next call.
Still real.
Hey,
You're
Mark.
a caution.
How's it going,
Hey,
Mark?
how are you?
Excellent.
Well, since we're on the subject of masturbation.
Wait, this is not the subject. We're not on the subject of masturbation.
We're not on it.
There will be no more talk of this masturbation. No, go ahead. What did you want to say?
Okay, I'm just kidding.
Say it slower.
Okay,
though.
so okay, so I actually have a funny movie story. I didn't walk out because I was too worthy. We walked out because we were unworthy. So we're sitting in a movie theater in Ephraim, Utah. So if anyone knows Manti and Ephraim, it's 99.9% Mormon. And
you say that like it's a bad thing.
Oh, well, of course not. But we decided to sneak Death of Vodka in the movie theater with us.
Whoa.
And we have...
You took vodka into the movie theater?
Yeah.
You're a Mormon?
He put it in the arm. My friend put it in his coat, in the arm. He looked totally buffed on that right side of his arm. And we got away with it. So we get a drink, poured the vodka in the drinks we got. And keep in mind, my friend I'm with, his uncle is the stake president. He's sitting in front of us.
The stake president is sitting in front of you?
Very back rows. Yeah, his uncle. He's the stake president. He's sitting in front of us. And so we're on the very back row so nobody could see us from behind. So we pour our drinks, we set the bottle down. And in this old theater in Ephraim, there's a slope all the way to the stage, a gradual slope.
Did you test that theory?
We accidentally kicked the... What's that?
I just said, did you test that theory? about the continual slope all the way. Yes,
Well,
I think you
yeah,
did.
we actually did. We actually have data on it because we accidentally kicked the bottle over, and it was half full of vodka, and it rolled all the way to the stage.
The whole bottle did?
There was vodka bottle rolling and vodka pouring out. So we just got up and left.
And then someone got the bright idea to light a match.
Well, it wasn't ever clear, but we passed the sacrament the next day, and
No, it
everything was good.
Nice.
So,
You
so
know,
that-
you
that's
crazy
the
kids
movie
down
we
in
walked out
Utah.
on, but we were unworthy.
This is the stories we
What's
hear
that?
about you crazy kids in Utah, because in the mission field, we were righteous. We were real
behaved
Mormons.
That's
You guys
right.
were soft, drinking your vodka in the
Well-
movie theater right behind the stake president, who fortunately couldn't smell it.
Oh, well, they probably had no clue what it was.
I'm sure.
Like, who brought the rubbing alcohol?
Mm,
So
I don't-
that's my movie story.
Well, thank you.
Wonderful. I like it. It's kind of a twist on the theme.
Hey, well, you're welcome.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, this is wonderful. Now, is there somebody named Paul down there?
There is somebody named Paul down there. Paul,
This
how are
this
you?
must be what it's like to be God. You ever think about
What's up,
that, Bill?
gentlemen?
We kind of look down, and we look down at the little people in the little boxes, and we go, "Oh, let's bring this one up, shall we?"
What power? Hey, I hear we're talking about masturbation tonight.
Totally. This is the masturbation show. Masturbation theater.
No. I'm kidding. We're past that. All right, let's talk movies. Yeah, is that the conversation?
Oh, wait a second. I'm sorry. Okay, Paul.
Yeah, please.
When I said it, I didn't realize how
Professional
funny it was until I
organization,
replayed it
please.
in my head.
Yeah.
That's funny. Masturbation theater.
I think we have a new show for you then.
With
Okay,
Alistair.
so you guys want to talk movies? Sorry. Let's see. I
Movies
got
that you
lots
walk-
of movies.
Yeah,
funny
movies that
movies.
you walked
No, we're
out.
talking about masturbation, damn it.
No. Listen, you guys don't want to hear anything about that. I promise.
Okay.
I'm already picturing him, RFM. Stop it.
Stop.
See,
Ready?
speaking-
I'm much
he's
better from the
speaking.
race
I told
stuff.
you must avert the gaze. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I
Paul.
got a quick funny one, and then I got a couple of other ones. So quick funny one is my parents famously walked out of Forrest Gump after the
Yeah.
first scene, where I guess the mother has sex with the principal. You know.
Oh,
to get
right,
Forrest
Sally
in
Field.
school. They felt that was too far. We can't subject ourselves to this
Yeah.
trash.
I sort of remember you
came
have
home
a
and grabbed
long
the
shot
brothers
of the
like
house,
that.
and the sound is really what the scene was, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that was too much for them. Then my little brother, back when my kid brother, back when Blockbuster was a thing, had rented Zoolander, right? This had just come out on DVD. He was sort of old enough and in high school to go get it on his own. So he rents it. He gets it back to the house, watches it, no problem. Mom and dad find the DVD while he's at school, and they're like, "What is this?" So they watch it, and they're appalled. They're beside themselves at how irreverent and gross it is. By the way, it's a PG-13 movie, just technically for the record.
I don't really know what's in it. I think it has Ben Stiller and the other guy, the blonde guy with the crooked nose.
Yes, that's right.
Owen Wilson.
He's very charming, very funny.
Owen
And they're
Wilson.
together. And the only thing I ever saw was like the scene where they're dancing around with gas pumps.
Yeah,
And the hoses and spraying gasoline everywhere.
very funny scene. Very
Yeah,
funny
it was
movie.
very funny, slow motion. But
Yeah.
is there something like sexual in the movie?
Well, I'm sure there is. You know, it's got Will Ferrell and a couple of other folks, and I'm sure there were all sorts of. I haven't seen the movie for years, but I'm sure there's all sorts of, dick jokes and shit jokes and all the whole thing, right? But they're appalled after watching this film, and their sweet little 16 or 17-year-old son has rented this movie, no less. So as soon as he gets home from school, they make him watch the movie with him again. The three of them watch the movie while they're taking notes, okay, and writing down all the things they deem inappropriate. And they're stopping the movie and repeating the jokes back to him and being like, "Is it still funny?" And he's just mortified, of course. Anyway, so that's
sounds like that was the goal.
Family. over and over again just to mess with my little brother because it's just so funny to us. But to him, it was very traumatic.
Well, that was a shame fest.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got it good. All right, my last story is actually related to my deconversion. So, the movie was the Man of Steel, right? Radio Free Mormon. I know you're a big comic book guy.
It's one of those Superman movies, I'm guessing.
It's a Superman movie. Yeah, it was probably like 2014 or 2013, something like that. Anyway, I had found out about, a lot of stuff in the church, and I was deconstructing. I was in I just finished graduate school, and using my newly minted critical thinking skills that I didn't get at BYU Idaho. But in any event, I'm deep in this faith crisis, so to speak, and the last thing I was holding on to was how does one? That's the movie.
Whoa,
how does
humana,
one
humana.
know? How does one know truth? And the paradigm in Mormonism, of course, is that real truth, spiritual truth, is the only way through the Spirit that one can know what is truth. And how does one know that one is feeling the Spirit? You feel the Spirit and you know the truth, and you come to recognize those still small voices, the burning in the bosom, whatever the things are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being a good little Mormon boy, I was taught that the Spirit can't abide when you're sinning, right? Or when you're doing something you're not supposed to do. So I was still kind of clinging to that. Well, I still have these spiritual experiences, and I can't deny those. Well, one day I'm at the ward building, and I'm so tired of listening to these guys talk about the baloney of Mormonism that I just tell my wife, "Hey, I'm leaving. I'm going to go see the Man of Steel. Forget it. I'm going to go see Man of Steel at the movie theater just by myself. I got to get something out of today." I go into the movie, and halfway through the film, there's a scene where there's a moment between Superman and his father, Jonathan Kent, and the music swells. This chorus goes loud. The heart cell was going strong, and suddenly, what do I feel? But that warm, calm, peaceful moment in my body, the burning of the bosom, the Spirit coming to me to testify that Superman was, truly a real hero of the Lord. But meanwhile, it's the Sabbath, and I've skipped church.
Oh no!
Right?
You're
so
doing everything
boom,
wrong.
At that moment, I realized, oh, this can be manipulated, and that was it. It was over.
The Holy Ghost was coming into forbidden territory on a forbidden time schedule to rescue you. But you turned your back on him, and he's
he had just stayed away.
He's got a memory on him. The Holy Ghost can hold a grudge.
I had a similar experience listening to rap music. When I would listen to rappers, really good rap music that I enjoyed, I would feel the Holy Ghost, and they would be singing about drugs and murder. And I was like, I feel the Spirit. What does that mean? A good.
I think it means you should be civilly committed.
A good crossroads from Bone Thugs and Harmony. Yeah, maybe I should have an idea put on just because of the rap music.
Just one man's opinion.
Yeah. Bone Thugs and Harmony. I felt the Holy Ghost.
I'll tell you what, he's tricky. If you're not careful, he'll tell you things you shouldn't know. So anyway.
Yes. Or like, was it John Steinbeck who wrote, "You're bound to get ideas if you start thinking about things."
Yes.
Whatever.
That was the ultimate problem at the end of the day, was I learned how to actually think upon, going to a state university as opposed to a Mormon university. So
yes.
Anyway.
Well, and this one I think is Carl Jung, who I think he said thinking is hard work. That's why most people judge.
Ever the philosopher, RFM. Of that I appreciate.
Well, I steal my best material from others.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Don't we all at the end of the day?
Probably.
Thank you, Paul.
Well, guys, enjoy the evening. Hello, chat. Can't wait to see the replay.
Take it easy.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Well, that Paul was a very nice fellow, it seemed like. And I think I noticed, so I did not bring it up, Thor's hammer on a bookshelf behind him. So I'll forgive him his Man of Steel reference.
There you go.
No, I didn't see the movie. But Henry Cavill is something to look at, let me tell you. I love the Mission Impossible with him in it. That was great.
I'm not thinking Henry Cavill. It's the Superman they did before this, but after Christopher Reeve.
I can't keep track of any of them at this point.
Superman.
It's almost as bad as Bond's, except with James Bond, they look a little bit different. You know, the Superman, they're trying to get a certain look for Clark Kent / Superman, so they end up looking kind of the same to me.
Yeah,
that's right, because I'm not interested in the Superman movies.
In one of them, the person who plays it, I know exactly who it is. He played in some other. Anyway, this one here, I got to put it up on the screen. Let's see here. So this one here, he goes out of the way to learn like Christopher Reeve's mannerisms, and if you watch this one, he walks and like he just does all the certain things that Christopher Reeve would do, and so it seems apparent that they were trying to sort of copy that version of Superman.
I'm not sure who that is. Is that Borat?
No, it's not Borat. No,
No.
no. Somebody else will know who this is. But anyway, but he was on some. What's the TV show about like the guys in Office Max and some super spy lady uses him and this guy ends up working. Somebody out there will know what the answer is, but I don't have enough information. But
Yes, that was total gibberish to me.
It was
completely
enough,
Greek.
If you know, you know.
I don't know.
Chuck, it was, yes. Chuck is the movie. Thank you, Ray Dunn. This was one of the actors in Chuck.
Ah, I see.
So there we are. Okay, I'm going to take that off the screen. We do have another couple of callers. All right, caller, what did you walk out of? First, what's your name? But what did you walk out of? Hello?
Are you speaking to me?
I'm definitely speaking to you.
Okay, this is Poppy.
Poppy, how are you, Poppy?
Poppy. Poppies will put them to sleep.
I'm good. When I reflect back on my Mormon self, it really embarrasses me to remember some of the things I actually did.
Mm-hmm.
I went to church with a Protestant friend, and the minister at the pulpit started explaining the beliefs of different religions. When he got to the Mormon part, I was so offended, I got up and walked out of her church.
Well, was he saying mean things about Mormons?
No, they were probably saying the things that we now know are true.
But he wasn't being overly complimentary.
Right. Yeah. Well, the things like the Mormon church is a cult and they're to be avoided and all that stuff.
I think I would have done more than just walk out.
Well, it embarrasses me now. I was so self-righteous. It's amazing that I had any friends at all.
I know. You have to join a special club. It's called the Not Even Once Club.
The Not Even Once Club, written by Wendy Nelson, a former therapist.
Oh.
You've heard of that book, haven't you, Poppy?
No, I haven't actually.
Yeah, Wendy Nelson. I think before she was
did.
Nelson. What was she before she was Nelson? She was Wendy what? She was Wendy who?
Wendy Watson.
Who was no more than two? Okay,
Watson.
Wendy Watson, that was it. And she wrote this book, and it's called the Not Even Once book, and you can still look it up. There it is, Bill, you're a marvel.
The Not Even Once Club.
And that's where the kids go who never, there is Wendy Watson Nelson. Okay. I don't know if that's a second edition or if that's what she was when she wrote it or if it was just hopeful. But these kids don't do anything wrong. This is how you join the club. This is how you stay in the club. It's by never doing anything wrong. And this is written by a woman who's supposed to have some kind of degree in family therapy, setting kids up for any number of neuroses and psychoses.
If you make one mistake in the Not Even Once Club, you are thrown out. Hit the door, Jack. You're out of here. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been me. Yeah. I did walk out of another meeting.
Yes.
I was attending a branch in a little town in Arkansas. Excuse me, a little town in Arkansas, and they were sustaining their people, and they'd gotten a new bishopric, I guess, and when it came time to vote to sustain the new people, there were those in the audience who voted against them. And
Really?
it got to be really chaotic. It was crazy.
It must have been those
So
Hatfields.
I had all my kids. I'm sorry?
It must have been those Hatfields.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I gathered up all my children, and we actually walked all the way back to my parents' house because it was actually pretty scary.
That there was not 100% unanimity.
Oh no.
That's what was
No,
scary.
they voted against him. Well, the crowd. It became
Crucify him. Crucify him.
yeah.
Crucify him.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
you've got
did,
the
and they
part,
said,
Bill.
well, we're gonna have to take this up in a private meeting. So they went to a private meeting, and I don't know what they did in there because we left. It was scary.
So if I'm understanding this, did you live in this area? You were visiting, right?
It was my parents' home in a little town in Arkansas.
And the name of the town was what? Not that we're going to check your story.
Little Rock.
I think that's too big.
No, it was much smaller than. If I tell you the name,
It was Little
anyone
Little
who's
Rock.
listening will know who I am.
It was Littlest Rock.
It was near. It was near the.
never near
Let's
that
see, what was
woman.
it near? It wasn't really near anything. It was in the mountains.
Okay. So, but there was this branch, and were people doing more than just raising their hands in opposition? Were they saying things or getting kind of?
They were.
Okay.
They were
Okay.
saying things.
All right. Well, interesting. I guess that's what democracy looks like. But we don't want to have any of that in the church. It's one thing God
No,
hates
I
is a
wish
good
Nemo
democracy.
had been there. If Nemo had been there, his vote would have counted.
Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
Poor Nemo. Well, thank you, caller.
It's a very interesting story, walking out of church because the sustaining wasn't going according to Hoyle.
Right. Yeah, it was weird. All right. Well, thanks, you guys. Have a good evening.
Take it easy.
Good evening to you too. Thank you so much. Yeah, the church is it's come about in such a way that we have what do we have? We call it reverence, right? We call it reverence, but what it means is this stultifying stillness and emptiness, and we call it reverence. And anything that impacts or impedes upon that reverence, that stillness, that nothingness that is supposed to exist at church is seen as wrong or a threat or something to be concerned about. And especially if it gets to this level, I mean, God only knows what they were doing in Arkansas. They were probably bringing their pitchforks and their torches. But yeah, getting that concern, you got to leave. Yeah, that's a product of Mormonism, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to note, it struck me that, yes, the Not Even Once Club, we all understand how horrifically unhealthy that is to have a club for kids where the only standard that's acceptable is perfection. That's not even good. That's not even a good story for the gospel of Jesus Christ. If you're going to, use that anywhere else, even people inside Mormon's version of Christianity understand that would not be a great message. But then it struck me that no one notices that Jesus's club would be the 70 times 7 club, the not even 70 times 7 club. And that's the approach Jesus has with this kind of stuff. And the Not Even Once Club, extremely unhealthy. I was going to note to RFM, and we got another person on the phone on the phone calls, but I wanted to note this. I came across a couple things today, and we'll get to more phone calls here in terms of things people have walked out of. But every year I need to go into this website, Candid, and I need to update our information, and they give us a certain seal of how well the nonprofits ran. So the last few years, we've had the gold standard, had it again this year. But while I was filling out the paperwork, the online forms and stuff for it, and uploading various images of our like company documents and stuff, I came across a place on the website for awards, and it struck me like, you've won some awards. I've won a couple from the Brody Awards, and Marriage on a Tightrope is another one that won from the Mormon Discussion umbrella at the time. But I was just noting how many of these that you've won. Like, this is pretty cool. I want to go back and read some of these. This is moving from the oldest years, now 2017. You were the best new podcast, Radio Free Mormon. It was Blog Channel Podcast. Radio Free Mormon won the best new Mormon blog channel podcast.
I imagine I was the only new podcast that year.
I don't think so, Timmy. And then 2018, best podcast overall, Radio Free Mormon. 2018, best watchdog. That was mine. But then the next one was 2018, most insightful commentary on the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Radio Free Mormon's General Conference Death March.
Oh, yeah, that was a fun one.
Then 2019, best podcast again, Radio Free Mormon. 2021, best LDS internet podcast or video channel for 2020 or 2021. You said because of COVID, they went 2 years into that one. So
that's my recollection.
Over the course of 2 years, the number one best LDS interest podcast, Mormonism Live, Brody Award. And then 2022, still best LDS interest podcast series, 2022 Radio Free Mormon episode 259. That was the one you did with Kobe.
I think it was about the rules of evidence.
Yep, rules of evidence. And then 2022 best LDS interest podcast, Radio Free Mormon. And then I saw for 2024 the I'm trying to find it here really quick, just so folks can go there actually and keep up on it. But for 2024 Brody Awards, here we go, collecting nominations. So I'm going to post it here in the comments, and then I'll move it over to the other screen. So
oh wait, it's that time of year again.
Yeah, it's that time of year again. So
I get it. Okay, this is why you're bringing it up.
Yep. And then I don't see it here. Collecting nominations. They're already past this. They've got the nominations. And Mormon Discussion was up there. Radio Free Mormon was up there. And so there's a chance, I think, to win it again.
Wait,
but anyway.
Is this for this year? Or 2024?
Yeah, it's just at the end of this year so far. December 8th, 2024, collecting nominations.
Hello, everybody. Strange that we should meet like this. And yet, apparently, we're still live. Something's happened to Bill Reel. I'm not exactly sure what.
I
hope it's okay, not permanent. And it's not. No, hey, Bill, how you doing?
I just hit the wrong button. So here we go. Let me put this back up. They're further along than this. Collecting nominations. Gathering nominations.
Well, whatever you hit the last time, don't hit it again, okay?
Yeah. Best LDS interest podcast, Radio Free Mormon, Mormon Discussion.
Oh. What do you know? In no particular order, although mine's first.
Yeah, you're first. I'll give you that. Let's see here. So
awards for individual works.
Yeah, I was trying to see if we had anything up here. I don't know that yet. This is I just saw it earlier today and saw the thing at the top. But anyway.
What do you have to do to nominate?
I don't know. I think a certain amount of people have to send something in, and it has to get past that stage to get to sort of the final list of whatever it is, 4, 5, 8. And for whatever reason, year after year, of course, quality for yours, but year after year, for whatever reason, there's tons of things to pick from. They narrow it down to 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not always the same number per category, but we'll see what happens. 2024. So keep an eye on that, folks. If you want to vote for Radio Free Mormon or Mormonism Live, I don't think that was on there, but Radio Free Mormon was on there, so you can vote
Mormonism
for that.
Live was.
It was.
No, it was Mormon Discussions.
But I haven't put hardly anything out, so that can't be real.
Well, maybe somebody put it down thinking that it was different.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't put a lot out for that, so that doesn't make any sense. But Mormonism Live would make sense. So anyway, I just want to say kudos to you. From 2017, you have been a consistent staple at the Brody Awards.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Yeah.
I did take a hiatus last year. I found it was very, very good to not be nominated. None of the stress that goes into wondering whether I'll be the one called up on the stage to receive my golden statuette.
I worry you might have a Will Smith moment or something, you know?
Oh, giving or receiving?
Either or.
Really? Well, who would I be smacking?
I don't know. Cardinellis.
Oh my gosh. No. I would not. When I think of Cardinellis, I think about Casablanca and Peter Lorre talking to Humphrey Bogart. And Peter Lorre says something like, you despise me, don't you, Rick? And Bogart says, well, I probably would if I gave you any thought.
Yeah. Well, there you
I
go.
think the bow tie, the neon bow tie makes that complete.
I love it. All right. We've got a phone call. Melanie on the phones. Melanie, are you there?
I am here.
All right. You're on the show.
Congratulations on all of your awards.
Yeah. Look at that.
Congratulations
Congratulations,
on those
Radio
awards.
Free Mormon.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Well, I haven't walked out on a movie, but I do know people that have. In my recollection, 1984 Red Dawn. My friends went on a double date with another married couple in our ward, and the second couple walked out and asked for a refund and sat in the lobby and waited for my friends to finish watching the movie.
What was it that caused them such
Well,
consternation? I think I saw it back in 1984 as well. I didn't walk out, but I barely made it, through awake. It was kind of sleep-inducing for me.
What was the name of the movie?
Red Dawn.
Red Dawn.
It was
Wolverines.
14A in Canada.
What does that mean? Does that mean you're not supposed to watch it unless you're 14?
Yeah, 14 in adult themes, I believe, where in the United States it was PG-13.
Okay.
In Canada, they would suggest you be a year older.
Okay.
And then I'm in a little town that does a lot of really quality theater productions, from junior high and children's theater and all the way up. And clear back in 2002, I was an usher at a production that my family was in, and it was Grease. And I did have a couple walk out and express their displeasure that we were putting such filth on the stage for the community to consume. And I was surprised that the show was nearly 25 years old. I mean, the movie had been out 25 years earlier, so I was surprised that they hadn't had a clue what they were in for before they came.
Mm.
And then
I guess so.
Put on, pardon?
I guess so. Grease, the movie came out in 1978, the summer I got baptized. And I watched it, and I didn't like it very much. I did not like it. I still don't like it that much to this day, because I remember watching it and thinking, yeah, Travolta sort of tries to be a jock in a funny way. But when it came down to it, she had to become like him.
Yeah.
There was no real compromise.
Right. Yep. She had to switch over to his way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my daughter happened to be Sandy in one production, and then years later, a different daughter was Rizzo, and they both did really good in there, and it's a fun play to do.
Mm. Wonderful.
Another time we did Children of Eden, and there was a write-up in the local paper that we should not put such non-doctrinal stuff on stage, and parents had to go home and deprogram their children, and because in the show Adam and Eve were not portrayed exactly Mormon-like, and there were other people on the earth besides Adam and Eve, and a few things that just weren't taught in Sunday school.
Of course there were. Fred and Barney.
Right up in the local paper. Yeah, Fred and Barney were there. Yeah. But the only thing that I have personally walked out of was a Relief Society lesson.
Oh, really?
Yep.
And why was
actually, I
that?
thought they weren't sticking to I thought they weren't sticking to the doctrine either.
Oh no, you were a doctrine. You were one of the doctrine police, the Orthodoxy police.
Well, I wasn't, but they were kind of leaning more to the Orthodox side, and I was leaning more to the compassionate side.
Oh, I see. That's why you got up and left.
That's why I got up and left.
Did you say anything as you were departing?
One sister did follow me out, and she said, "Did you leave because of this thing that was said?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And she says, "Oh, I was really uncomfortable too." And we left it at that.
Very nice. Did you brush the dust off your pumps?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you again.
Did you brush the dust off your pumps?
Did I dust off my pumps, my shoes?
Yes, exactly.
I dusted my shoes. I did dust off my shoes at a different time regarding a different matter, but that's the only time.
Are you kidding? You mean the kind where you're calling down God's curses upon them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just once. I tried it once. Didn't really work.
Well, you gave it a try.
Yeah, had to try.
Well, I think it's because you don't have the priesthood, because every time I do that, it works just like a charm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I know.
That's the key, really.
Well, thank you, Melanie.
Well, thank you, guys.
You bet. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right. We've got 2 people in the studio, and I think this will get us close to the end. So first off, regular Nathan, Detroit. How are you, Nathan?
Hey, all doing well.
Awesome. What did you walk out of? Did you leave something?
I was trying to think of something I'd walked out of, and the first thing that came to mind was I remember in my student ward at BYU, I would regularly walk out of the elders quorum, or the third hour, when it ran over time. So like when it would hit the top of the hour, I would stand up and walk out to encourage them to finish somewhat on time.
Yeah,
and
you arrogant ass. You.
I really was.
You're
I will own up to that. As a earlier caller mentioned, working on giving myself grace for my previous self-righteousness.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that self-righteous, or is that just self-righteous of a different kind? I would think the self-righteous person is the person who keeps talking and talking, thinking that what I'm talking about is more important than you guys and your schedule.
Yeah, but it's at BYU. No one has anything else to do on a Sunday. So
what did you do?
I got in my car and drove home and played video games or worked on homework. Or
Very good. How long did this go on? Do you know how long it went on? I know you left, but you must have had reports.
I'm not sure what you mean by reports.
Other people, how long these meetings went over?
Oh, I mean, it was the reason I walked out because it was regularly going like 15, 20 minutes over time. Like I remember at least one time we'd come out and they stack them back to back at the BYU wards, and so like there would be the next class waiting out in the hall for us to come out. Because
I get it. I'm all for the gospel of Jesus Christ too, but shit, it's Sunday and there's 2 hours have gone by, and I need to go home and get a go home, take a nap, get a toasted cheese sandwich or something.
3 hours back then, right?
Yeah,
was that 3 hours?
It was 3 hours.
This gospel of Jesus Christ, 3 hours, 1 day a week. Anything more than that, this shit's got to stop.
Yeah.
So, well,
very, very interesting. I tell you what, Nathan, I love seeing you. We've got a couple more people, I think, to get on before in the next.
Good to see you all. Happy New Year.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say? I mean,
sorry.
Not.
No, we're not. By the way,
Nathan.
It's supposed to be the most important thing in the universe.
What?
is the gospel of Jesus Christ. And 3 hours
It's
a
not
week,
worth another 15 minutes to you, is it, Bill?
or most anyone. In fact, it wasn't worth it to the church. They cut church down from 3 hours to 2. They said it wasn't worth it.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. It's tough striking that balance.
it is.
Now,
Well,
this is
speaking about
Spencer.
balance. Yeah, talking about balance. Here's Spencer.
Good evening, fellas, and Happy New Year.
A nice mic you got there, my friend.
Yeah, I don't know. It's geared to the gamers, I guess.
Oh, really?
It works good.
What games are you streaming?
Oh, I'm not even streaming. I just like the mic.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I do too. It looks like it might have been bitten by a radioactive spider.
Probably. This is a fun conversation. We're talking about movies we've walked out of, either
I feel like-
self-righteously or
I
legitimately.
feel like my tie and your microphone should be having some kind of saber duel.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of glad to be on the Sith side of things, but
Yeah, you would. I'm sorry. Go ahead. So you Sith Lord, you walked out on something?
Yeah. So a little bit of context. Growing up, like every Mormon, I was terrified of Satan. Like from a young age, all the way up to adolescence, you're told like Satan is just like God, is very real, and if you're not careful, he gonna get you. So with this in mind, and I think spring or summer of 2005, I'm watching some movie that is a-okay for a Mormon to watch, and they put up a trailer for a movie called The Exorcism of Emily Rose. And to this day, there has not been another trailer that has scared me more than that. All y'all in chat, look it up after this. It's legitimately terrifying.
What was it about it? I sort of remember the movie. I think I might have seen it not on the big screen, but was there a lot of like contortions involved in her being possessed?
Yeah, the actress, I can't remember her name. She was in Dexter, and I couldn't watch Dexter again after I saw The Exorcism of Emily Rose, because all I saw was this possessed girl had a phenomenal performance where she's doing all these contortions. And it supposedly is loosely based on a true story. And at the end of the film, they have like a recording, and it's terrifying. This was just a trailer. I walked out. I have never felt so terrified in all my life. And this is with the context of me literally believing in Satan. What ends up happening, though, ironically, is like anything that's fascinating and captures the attention, I then became fascinated with demonic possessions. And it led me down this crazy rabbit hole where I found this book about, and I have no idea if it's true or not, called Jay's Journal. And it's about this kid who starts getting involved in the occult. It's based out of Pleasant Grove, Utah. And so I have that adding on top of it.
It was written by a frustrated housewife, but it had a wide-ranging impact on people just like you, and thousands, if not tens, possibly hundreds of thousands of others people, and being one of the reasons or the causes for the satanic panic that ran amok through the 1980s.
I came into it in 2005, and I don't know. I'm like, why are we talking about how to fight against Satan more? Because clearly he's off possessing kids in Pleasant Grove. I mean, this movie is a real recording. Like, I'm taking all this very literally.
Some of them take vodka into a theater and sit behind the fake president.
That's how you know you're really far off, especially
that's when you're really
possessed
possessed as a Mormon kid.
But yeah, that's my story. I explored that more, and I'm now at a point where I'm like, wow, I let my imagination get the best of me, and I'm very like at this point, possession movies are the least scary to me. There's other things that are much more scary in this world.
I was going to say that obviously you changed your mind because you said the trailer scared you to death. You left the room, and yet you knew what happened at the end of the credits.
I eventually revisited it probably a year or two later, and I don't know what I was thinking at that time, but I eventually revisited it, and it was every bit as scary as the trailer. And I don't know. I think things like that eventually helped break down, deconstruct, or it helped deconstruct some of my views around Satan. And
You know, your
it
story
was
is not
pivotal.
this story, but there's definitely a series, a theme of stories, if you could call it folklore. Although there's people out there who will swear it happened to them, and I'll bet there's at least one, if not more, in our very audience.
Oh, for
But
sure.
having a TV set, this is more of a TV thing, I think. We sort of have TVs today, but not the way we used to with the tubes and the static and everything. But there would always be stories that I would hear of Satan speaking through the TV set, some kind of message to the individual who's alone in the living room, inevitably. And there may be accompanied with the voice of Satan, an image that appears or perhaps coalesces from the static. But that's a theme of stories that I've heard several times from
I have
Mormons.
not heard that. I think that's a thing in Poltergeist, maybe like the static. And there's like another movie called White Noise, possibly, that plays with those themes. I haven't heard this in Mormon culture, though. This is fascinating.
I'm sure it's beyond Mormon culture, but I've
Yeah.
heard it from Mormons. And if you're out there and you've experienced it, or you've heard someone who has, go ahead and put it in the live chat, please, and help me know I'm not completely out of my mind.
Someone validate RFM, please.
Yes, he needs validation. Have you ever heard of that, Bill? Okay.
Cool, fellas. Well, I appreciate what you do. I hope you have
thank
a
you, Spencer.
phenomenal year. And it's fun hanging out tonight.
Thanks, Spencer. Have a great new year. We'll talk to you later.
Appreciate it. We'll see you.
Bye-bye. We have such a nice audience.
Yeah, yeah. It is fun to take all these. We've got one left, and the name says Nunya, like Nunya Business. So let's see if
Nunya sticks.
who we got here.
Nunya
Hey, hear me fine?
Hear you better than Midland, fair to Midland.
Oh no, we're not going to go there again, are we? This is the Nunya Sticks of Joseph.
So this is just a short one for RFM here.
Yeah.
All right, I've heard two different ways to pronounce the name that you've been having issues with. Mixoplick or Mixospitalik.
You know, the second one sounds like it does more justice to the four final consonants.
They're both from various cartoons that have come out through the years. So I don't know how canonical they are.
Have they tried to spell it phonetically?
I don't know.
Well,
But
it's always
when
the
Warner
question,
Brothers
right?
took over in the 90s, I think that was when they went with Mixospitalik.
Mm. You know, when you're actually having to say it somewhere, you have to be able to pronounce it. Otherwise, you can write down anything you want. But if you have a script or something, I haven't followed Superman. I understand there have been TV shows. I know there have been a lot of movies. I don't think this guy's shown up in any of the movies, so I could be wrong. But if you're going to have a script where he shows up, you're going to have to be able to say his name somehow.
Yeah, hasn't shown up in the movies, but he has shown up in the in various incarnations of the TV series. So,
how do you get this guy to say his name backward? This is what I always wondered about him. How dumb do you have to be when you want to be in this dimension?
showing his name in a mirror for some reason, but then it like negates the whole like spelling backwards. But he's from what, the fifth dimension or fourth dimension or seventh? I don't remember which dimension he's from because he's not strictly from our our reality.
Yes,
he's from a different dimension.
Yes.
So,
So
you
it's
know,
a
for all we
clever
know,
idea.
is
I just don't
he
see how
sees
he keeps
things
falling
in the
for
eighth
that.
dimension.
It's like Loki says to Thor in the first Avengers movie, are you ever not going to fall for that?
Right. But yeah, that was it. I figured I'd give you a short call this time.
Oh, that was it. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I feel bad about giving Nathan such short shrift.
All right. You guys have a good evening.
All right, Nanya. Thank you. Bye-bye. So there's apparently two different ways to pronounce that imp's name.
How do you, I mean, like you say, anybody being tricked to say their name backwards would sort of, over the course of time, would just not ever fall for that. But he fell for it. You could get him to do it.
Yeah. That was really kind of the whole thing. Every time he shows up, the whole thing is about what kind of mischief is he going to cause? And how is Superman going to come up with another way for him to say his name backward and pop himself against his will back into his dimension?
So is he of any real threat to the universe? Like, in other words, are they sending him away because he can?
Oh, no.
And obviously, part of it's just the gimmick of sending him away. That's great.
He's not like Thanos. He's just kind of more like Puck.
So he's just
Robin Goodfellow.
a nuisance, and you send him away.
That's my recollection.
Yeah.
At least when I was reading Superman, which I didn't do a lot of, he was just kind of a nuisance. Yeah.
That was one of the gifts I got for my grandson for Christmas this year, was a stack of 20 old comic books. And told him, I said, every boy deserves to collect something. And I'm getting you these comic books as an opportunity, if you're interested, that maybe the thing you would want to collect is comic books. And got him a stack of them. But you don't realize
they were Marvel.
I was going to say, I don't know what they were. They were various ones. They had Superman, but they also had Spider-Man in them.
Okay.
But they're, scantily clad women are pretty prevalent in comic books. And
They are.
a couple people seeing him flip through the comic books was like, that might be a little mature for a 5-year-old to start collecting. But that's what Grandpa did. Grandpa got him a stack of comic books. Every boy should have comic books.
Well, look, comic books today, I'm sure, are different than comic books when I was a kid. When I was collecting comic books, it was a little bit easier too, because there weren't so many, right? There were still quite a few, but even within Marvel, I would be able to list them, right?
Yeah.
But who knows? Today, there's so many different people, and there's also, it's not just Marvel and DC anymore. Is there Image? Is there Dark Horse? There's all sorts of different publishers that are having different kinds of success, and they have their own plethora of titles.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully he waits a few years, but he does collect them.
Yes. Well, when we're talking about pronouncing names, can I just say something here? In 3rd grade, our teacher would read us stories about a little red-haired girl with ponytails or pigtails named. Okay, come on. Who is
Pippi
that?
Longstocking?
Thank you, Pippi Longstocking. And where did she live?
No idea.
See, that was the thing. I don't know, because the teacher would say Villa Kula. And I would look at it. It's a foreign language. Where is she from? I don't know. Sweden, Finland, something like that. It's where the author's from. Some other place, and it's in that language, I think. So I got no idea. So I would just always come to that word, and in my head, as I'm reading, I would substitute something like Viluk. So same thing with Mr. Metroplex.
Mr. Metroplex.
Mr. Metroplex. Let's call him Mr. Metroplex.
Yeah. Believe it or not, the things I read when I was a little kid, Amelia Bedelia. Do you remember Amelia Bedelia?
I only know about her through a different source more recently, but yeah.
And Choose Your Own Adventure books. I was big on those.
Well, did you also like Goosebumps?
No Goosebumps.
Those are a little bit late for you. Yes? No?
Yeah.
Were they? Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's 9:29 RFM. We're an hour and a half into this one. The call line is off. No one's in the studio. Seems like we're at the end of another Mormonism After Dark. I just want to say, folks, if you want to help support the program, we do leave the call-in studio open the whole show. There is a cost associated with that. If you want to help us to support that, you can go to mormondiscussions.org, click the donate button, and just select there's a Mormonism After Dark, or if you want to select Mormonism Live, it would do the same thing. But make a donation. Anything would help. $5, $10. $10 would probably support the call-in studio for an entire show. Anyway, we'd love to have you as supporters of the program, have you on the team, and thank you to everybody who is a listener and follows along, and those who donate. RFM, anything from you?
I just want to say I'm glad it's Friday. I was things happen in life, and I spent the last evening in a hospital parking lot, and everything's fine, and I won't go into details, and it didn't involve me, but I was in the parking lot. So anyway, for several hours, and other things have happened. There was a viewing that I went to today in a funeral home. Anyway, all of this is by way of saying, boy, stuff happens. And I was going to record a new RFM this morning. I have it all planned out. I've got it all put together, all ready to go. But then life intervened, right?
Right.
So tomorrow morning is the plan. I'll get up bright and early, and we'll see if we can put something together and have it up tomorrow evening.
Sweet. So you can look forward to that, folks. A new episode of Radio Free Mormon coming at you. And otherwise, we'll see you Wednesday for Mormonism Live, Monday for the newscast at 6, or next Friday for Mormonism After Dark at 8 p.m. And check out that newest episode of Radio Free Mormon when it drops. All right, Mr. Radio Free Mormon, have an excellent night. And thanks again for folks for joining in.
Thank you, Bill. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.